morning. Let's have a day. It is October 16th. And y'all, I don't know where y'all are at. I'm in a good spot. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm in a really good spot. I am jacked up about my game this weekend. I am jacked up, frankly, about all the games this weekend. I think it's going to be incredible. I am of the belief this will be the best weekend of the college football season. I think there's a lot of really interesting matchups. I think there's a lot of difficult matchups. Some teams that probably look like they're in full control, and I wouldn't be that surprised if the game is competitive. For example, Oregon. I know that's off the grid. I know a lot of y'all are thinking, why would we talk about Oregon here less than a minute into the show? Because they're traveling 2,500 miles cross country this week, and they just got their teeth kicked in. So playing against a Rutgers team that, I don't know, can throw the rock, I think Oregon needs to be careful. Crazy as it may be, I think Oregon needs to be careful. I also look at some other teams that need to be a little careful. I think Oklahoma needs to be careful this weekend. They go on the road to South Carolina. Take it from me. That's a tough place to play. Now, has South Carolina packed their tent? I don't think so. I can't imagine that they have. I would assume they're probably in a pretty good spot because the culture at that place is not one that leads me to believe they're going to be in a position to mail it in. I don't see it. They also have an elite quarterback. You run to a hot quarterback, what have we said for a long time? Run to a hot quarterback, you might as well just call it a day. I'm really excited about where things are going this weekend. I think we got a chance to have a really, really fun day. And I think a lot of people are going to be looking forward to it as well. We also are going to take some of your phone calls. We haven't done it a ton this week. Cole's out for the first hour. He's going to be taking his kiddos to school. So for those of you that are driving through the elementary school drop-off at Homewood, I don't know what elementary school it is. For those of you that see his Ferrari pulling through drive-through, make sure you go and wave at him. I don't know if he'll go top down today. Boys, you think he'll go top down today?
I didn't think he was going to drive the Ferrari. I thought he was going to at least do the Rolls Royce on Thursday. I thought he only drives the Ferrari on weekends.
No, the Rolly, the Rolly is actually, that's for like really special occasions, I think. I don't know. I don't have one, but that's for really special occasions. So
that makes sense.
But I get it. I totally get it. But
no, multiple kids feels like a Range Rover day.
The Range.
Yeah, or he does have that. He does have his private driver, and he might bust out the Sprinter van with the massage seats in the back.
Makes sense.
But I could see it. But we'll see. All right, we want to get to your phone calls. Like, what are you most excited about this weekend? And we actually did this the last time Cole was out. We just kind of opened up the phone lines and let y'all take it anywhere. Like, if you want me to break down specific games, if you want me to break down Georgia Tech Duke, I can. If that's the top of your list. If you want to know what the pathway to an upset is for Wisconsin over Ohio State, I can do it. If you want me to tell you how many different ways the Miami game can go this Friday night against Louisville, I can do that too. I can literally talk any big game. Now, if you ask me about a game that's not so big, I'm a little concerned about maybe being able to apply information for that, but I will give it my best shot. For example, you want to talk Auburn? Let's ride. Just had them last week. You want to know all the scoop, all the scuttlebutt, all the details? I'm good with it. You want to talk Bama? Perfect. Called their game 2 weeks ago, have their game this week. You want to talk Tennessee? Perfect. Got their game this week. You want to talk Georgia? Perfect. Had their game last week. Should we keep going? You want to talk Ole Miss? Perfect. I had their game 3 weeks ago. I can go anywhere. I don't care.
Vandy,
you want to talk
LSU?
Sanford? I've had Vandy. I've had LSU. Can talk it. You want to talk Sanford? Damien's got you. I'm good. Tough year so far for the bullies, by the way.
It is. It's a difficult
What are we doing? Why don't you clean it up a little bit?
They're young, man. They're young. And
You're young. I don't care.
It shows.
Young
man.
don't matter.
The only return in production they had offensively was the quarterback. Everybody else was either, spot start here and there, and the receiving core was completely decimated going into this season. And it shows. It shows it on occasion. But hey, this is a long season. You never know. They ain't throwing in the towel. I promise you that.
Tighten up.
That's what Titans. Yeah, speaking of the Titans, yeah, we definitely tighten up. We got one win.
Yeah, well, that's you might have gone over your total that I would have set for you. So hey, take it and run. And the good news is you look dominant from start to finish in that win. That was the best part about it. I mean, Arizona didn't at all. Yeah, Arizona didn't at all look like they were pulling off the gas. Like, it was fine. Nothing to be ashamed of there. You guys gave it all you had.
We did, man.
So, yeah, well, all you had was good enough for one. I don't know if you have another one. I want the Titans to win. Taylor Zarzour is one of my favorite people on planet Earth. He's now the voice of the Titans. I love Cam Ward. He's been one of my favorite guys I've covered in my career, having covered him at Washington State and at Miami. Like, I love him. I want him to succeed. I don't know for sure if he will, but I do know that they have a new coach coming in.
Yeah.
I do think Matt Nagy can get him right. That's who's going to be the head coach, by the way.
Hey, I appreciate it. I've seen what our offense has looked like, and he's been pretty consistent. If he can make Mitchell Trubisky look competent as a quarterback, ain't no telling what he can do with Cam Ward.
Oh yeah.
We also got to put some pieces around him who I know Calvin Ridley's your boy because y'all both Bama, but he's probably not
Calvin.
I don't
know if he's a number one receiver.
Yeah.
No, I like Calvin, but I don't know if I'd want him if I were an NFL GM.
Right.
Hey guys, let's scheme it up and get the ball to Calvin today. Like, I mean, with all due respect to him, like, he's not exactly
right.
I don't know, Jamar Chase.
Had this been 2018, 2019, oh, absolutely. But in 2025, it's been a fun ride.
Yep. It's a great run. All right, let's load it up. Phone calls incoming. 800-239-9569. We want to take a lot of them today. Cole's out for an hour, so you guys are the co-host. Where do you want it to go? We will kick things off with Bill in Clanton. Bill, how are you, my friend?
Good morning. How y'all?
Good morning.
How y'all doing?
We're doing great.
Hey,
we're dialing it up.
Great. Hey, listen, I want to talk about Auburn real quick. Look, you're a Rhodes Scholar. You're a pretty smart fella.
I didn't win it.
I was
I was a finalist. I didn't win it, so I can't bear that title, but I appreciate it.
Well, that's one out of a million. How about that?
There's not a lot. That's right.
Do you think you watched Peyton Thorne for 2 years, and then you watch Jackson come in, and they both of them to me look like they're scared? Do you think that Hugh Freeze's offense is too complicated for these kids?
It's a good question. Let's start with Peyton Thorne. And I'm not cutting you off. I want to have a back and forth here, Bill. Peyton Thorne, to me, was sometimes I agree with you. He did look apprehensive. Other times he looked fearless to the point where it caused problems. You know what I mean? With interceptions and being willing to throw it into traffic. So I can't agree with you when it comes to Peyton Thorne. I do agree with you when it comes to Jackson Arnold.
Well, what I don't get is, I mean, it's still football, okay? And I understand you got a Mike linebacker, easing up to the edge or something like that, but it's still football. And if you 100%. Don't block, and if you don't just play football, you're never going to win. And I feel like that they're overcomplicating things, is my opinion on it, and not playing football. Too many X's and O's instead of too many Joes.
I'll tell you this. I don't find the scheme to be overwhelmingly complex, if you want me to be completely honest. Like, and I appreciate the call, Bill. Like, I watch all these offenses, and some are very complex. Some are. Bama's, for example, complex offense. A lot of different variations, a lot of different levels, a lot of freedom at the line of scrimmage to make adjustments, checks. When you're an RPO-centric offense, it's not overly difficult. What it is it's more you have to be reactionary and you have to make really, really quick decisions. And if you want my honest opinion, I think Jackson Arnold's a really good kid. I think he is a pleaser. I think he's trying to do right. And I think that he's I think he's a cerebral player as well. I do. I think he's a smart kid. And I think when you are playing in that system, you kind of just have to rip it without thinking. And hopefully it works out, and hopefully it doesn't work out. Or it might work out, might not work out. I think you have to rip it without thinking, and right now I think there's some thinking that goes on the second something goes wrong for Jackson Arnold, which is why I think they'll be looking at multiple quarterbacks at some point in the future. Like, I would not be surprised if Ashton Daniels gets some run this week. I'd tell you it might be the freshman, but I don't think he's ready. And it's not that he won't be. He's absolutely the future of the program, but I don't think he's ready. Let's go to Tom in Pell City. Tom, how are you, my friend?
What's going on, fellas? Just want to say, I think, Bama came out flat last week, which is noticeable because we're always flat at 11 o'clock games, and it takes everybody a while to wake up. But I don't think Alabama's played a full game yet. And when we do, if we beat Tennessee this weekend, my bold prediction is Alabama's in the playoffs, no doubt.
I would tell you I don't know, because there's still a couple tricky games on the schedule. LSU's a losable game. Oklahoma's a losable game. At Auburn's always tricky, right? But I have a hard time pushing back on that. Like right now, I like Bama's matchup against LSU a lot, frankly. LSU's kind of one-dimensional. They haven't looked great offensively. They've lacked rhythm. They're coming out of a bye week. Like, I love what they did last year, but that was quarterback run-centric. But I think Bama matches up real well with LSU. I've thought that for a while now. Same reason why I thought, man, they match up pretty well against Georgia. Oklahoma, I think, has some of the same challenges with LSU, except Oklahoma's more of a run-first football team, where LSU's more of a throw-first football team, but the challenges remain the same. The offensive line's a challenge. Like, they're just not very good right now. And you can overwhelm them up front. Now, I do think Mateer is the ultimate neutralizer, but both those games are at home. Like, how often are you concerned? I mean, yeah, can you lose one at home? For sure, but I like their chances at home a lot, especially being able to manipulate snap counts and do some different things. And with how much they do check with me at the line of scrimmage, like, doing that at home is a lot easier than doing it on the road. And then you, of course, see the Auburn game at the end of the year, which is always a tough game. It's in Jordan-Hare. It's a hard game. I don't know, though, if they get the first two, if that one will matter when it comes to playoff candidacy with how things are going in other places. So I don't disagree with you. And with the complete game thing, I don't disagree. I don't know if I've seen a complete game from anyone this year. And what I think that is I just don't think that any team is completely capable of overwhelming the opposition anymore. You know what I mean? The gaps aren't as significant between the teams as they once were. Like, I think Indiana played as close to a full game as I've seen against quality competition last week against Oregon, and yet they still threw a pick six in the game. Now, defensively, I think they played a full game, but as far as a 60-minute absolute level of domination, the only team I've seen do it so far has been Miami and Ohio State. And I don't know who they've done it against, frankly. Because even the Ohio State game, while people don't want to remember it, that game was probably a little closer than you realize against Texas. And if not for a goal line stand, we might be having a different conversation. So, and yeah, they can overwhelm Illinois and Minnesota. That's great. But if they're playing against teams with real athleticism, can they do it? Damian, what do you think about this stuff?
I agree with your line of thinking of, we haven't seen any one team just completely separate themselves of, at least by this point in time of the schedule, where we can look and say, like, yep, they're playing like the best team in the nation. But we've seen teams put a couple quarters together that can have an argument, can have a discussion. And somebody actually texted in and brought up Ole Miss, because you've gotten a chance to call Ole Miss games. And he had a question of, is Ole Miss a legit contender right now? Or is it kind of the luck of the draw that they haven't had? They played, Garrett Nussmeier, and he's may or may not be at 100%. They catch LSU slipping? And, was it a fluke that they kind of they ended up beating Kentucky, and just kind of their schedule, how it's lined up? Could they really go into Athens this weekend and knock off Georgia?
I think they can. Now, I think that it's tough sledding for sure. But guess what? When is going between the hedges and winning easy? I mean, it's never been easy. I think Ole Miss is actually quite good, and if you get too bogged down with last week's performance against Washington State, I think that's going to have a bit of an impact on your overall evaluation of what that team's capable of. But y'all, they can play.
Mm-hmm.
We had them a couple weeks ago, man. Like, they're legit, and that quarterback's really good. And guess what? Say what you want about the offense for Ole Miss, or excuse me, the offense for LSU, because I do think they have challenges. I don't think that's the case when you look at their defense. I think LSU's defense is very real, and I think they went for 5 bills in that game. So very, very impressive stuff from Ole Miss. And guess what? They caused a lot of confusion for LSU in that game too, with their tempo and some of the things they did. There were busts in that game that were uncharacteristic of what we've seen from LSU up to this point. All right. When we come back, by the way, we're about 44 minutes away from the head coach of Missouri, Eli Drinkwitz, joining us here on Mac and Cube. So we look forward to our visit with him. He, of course, played the Tide last week. We'll play Auburn this week. So he's got great insight into what's going on at those two places. And he's got a really good football team that is only going to be an underdog right now in one game down the stretch. Do they have an outside shot at the playoff? We'll talk to them about it here in about 44 minutes. But before that, we're going to continue on with your phone calls. 800-239-9569. We see you on hold. If we haven't gotten to you, we will. I can promise you that. So just stick around, load up the lines, and we'll talk ball right here on Mac and Cube. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning here, Jocks 94.5. It's great to be with you here on a Thursday. We've had games the last 2 nights, by the way. How about our squad? Jack State last night handling business from start to finish, frankly. That was a good win. Delaware had been kind of a hot team the last couple weeks, and they were kind of steaming a bit, if you will, in their first year in the FBS. So Delaware and getting a win there is big. So that CUSA package that they're now putting on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, the MAC did it, of course, forever. But, man, I really like having Conference USA. It's just a better brand of ball. No disrespect to the MAC. It's great. But CUSA's got some real players, some really good players, frankly. And Jack State now 3-0 in Conference USA, which is just fantastic. Could not be happier for Charles Kelly. And with where things are heading, they dropped the Blue Hens 38-25. All right, we're going to reset on the phone calls, 800-239-9569. We'll go anywhere because I'm fired up to just talk ball. I can literally talk any game this weekend. Any game you want to talk about, we can do. So let's go next to Lee in Cincinnati, the other Queen City. How are you, my friend?
Doing great, Greg. Thanks for taking my call. And the thing I want to ask you, this is pretty much of a known thing that Billy Napier probably won't last past this weekend. The question is that you got to have somebody to replace him with. Who in the heck does Florida think that they can get to coach their team now from now up for the future and to replace Billy Napier? Do you have any suggestions or any ideas? Have you heard anything?
Well, what's funny is like all the names are I've seen just more and more people, like it's the same names for every job. You know what I mean? Like if you have SEC ties, then the Florida job's on your list. If you have Big Ten ties, the Big Ten, the Penn State job's on your list. If you have smart school ties, then UCLA's on your list. It's like hilarious to me how regurgitated all these lists are. It's not that different in the NFL either. Like everybody in the NFL, it's like last year it was Ben Johnson, right? Like everybody Aaron Glenn. Everybody wanted Aaron Glenn. It's like, who's a good fit for New York? Oh, well, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn. Okay, got it. Thank you. Anyone else? It's all the time. So it's a hot coordinator coming up or it's a retread coach. Looking at the Florida situation, I do think it's a desirable job. I think it's one that many, many coaches would covet. I would say for sure it's a top 10 job. I do think it comes with significant expectations. And the funny thing about Florida is it's the only place that I've really seen in my tenure as a guy in this world, as an analyst, as a college football guy. It's the only place I've seen that cares how you win. Not that you just win. They care how you win. And Bama has a little of that, but not really. Like part of Bama's deal is like, we want to be dominant defensively. And if you score more than 14 points, then we can't play defense. We have a little of that, not to the extent with Florida. Florida under McElroy, for example, was like winning games like 21-10, and they were beside themselves. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I know we're going to 2 out of the last 3 SEC title games, but this is not exciting to watch. I'm done with it. Because they all remember back fondly to the Steve Spurrier era. So I think you need offense. I think you need a guy that can score. And I think the most logical name is Lane Kiffin. Here's the problem with Lane Kiffin. He's making $9 million a year right now at Ole Miss. The other name that people continue to bring up is Eli Drinkwitz. Guess what Eli's making? $9 million a year at Missouri. And I don't know what the financial situation is at Florida. They're not poor. I can promise you that. But if you're going to force Lane Kiffin and or Eli Drinkwitz to leave places where they're currently winning and have a program established, you're going to have to pay them a lot of money. And right now, they're not paying Billy Napier anywhere near what Lane Kiffin and Eli Drinkwitz were getting. So I think it's a financial question. I still think at the end of the day, Lane Kiffin is probably the most likely guy to get the job. We'll see. Anything can happen. I would have told you a few years ago that Lane Kiffin was most likely to get the Auburn job, and he had a change of heart at the last minute. So it happens. And he is notoriously unpredictable. Let's go next to Robert in Greenville. Robert, how are you, my friend?
Morning, Greg. How you doing? It's an honor to talk to you, man. First of all,
I
want to
appreciate
say
you calling, my friend.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say I think you and Sean McDonald do a terrific job on your on your telecast, and I'm looking forward,
Thank you, man.
Saturday night to the game with Tennessee. Although I do like Chris Stewart a lot too, everything he's gone through. I want to talk about.
I listened to Chris, by the way, last week, and I listened to him the whole way while I was in Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to listen to probably a third of that game on the radio, and it was just outstanding. Chris does such a great job. I'm so happy for him.
Him and his crew do a great job, and I'm so glad he's a play-by-play man now. But what I want to ask about, it's the Alabama-Tennessee game. My biggest concern coming in this game is what you and Cole did a great job of explaining early in the week, and that's about the wide splits that Tennessee's offensive line likes to use. And I just want to know, why does this particular scheme give so many offenses problems or defenses problems? They've already scored 48 points per game. I know their schedule has not been great. They played two good teams, Georgia and Mississippi State is much improved, but I just want to know, what is it about this offense that gives Alabama's defense so much trouble under Josh Heupel?
Well, so recall, it did give Nick Saban some trouble for sure. And I look at how they pattern match things and the complexities to Nick Saban's defense. And it was very difficult. I mean, it's a tough offense to account for because they are able to force you to dictate. And Coach Saban, his defense is notorious and has been notorious forever in not allowing you to do anything defensively. Whereas Tennessee essentially forces you to pick. You have to pick. You want to defend the run or the pass. And that was something that Coach Saban was kind of uncomfortable doing because he wants to defend the run and the pass. Why wouldn't he? He's one of the best defensive minds in the history of college football. And I thought that there were a lot of situations that Josh Heupel was able to create against the pattern match defense that were very difficult, partly because he would consistently get matchups against safeties. And that was not advantageous with the safety play to cover a wide receiver in one-on-one. If you look at last year, Tennessee went for 408, which, by the way, was a pretty good day, I think. They went for about $140 on the ground. That was, I think, a pretty good day as well. So I think the big key, and a lot of people think that this is some high-flying offensive attack. It's really not. It's really more about trying to create numbers in the run game and trying to create conflict in the run game. The one thing that Tennessee does not have as much of this year is the threat of the quarterback run, which is, I think, interesting. It isn't that their quarterback can't run, because I've seen several times Joey Aguilar get out and make some plays, but Nico Iamaleava was a legitimate difference maker with the ball in his hands. Last year, he had a play in the game in which he went for 27 yards on the ground. He had 45 yards overall, and that, I think, is something that needed to be accounted for. So we'll see where it goes. I think Aguilar is a better thrower. I just don't think he's the threat to run. And how will that adjust how things go with the approach that Kane Womack takes? Now, Aguilar went for 60 yards last week against Arkansas, had a long of 28. So he can, it's just he's not as much of a big play threat. So are they willing to maybe take him out of the ball game, or by defending quarterback run, are you crashing on Bishop every single time they hand it off? So be something worth watching. It's going to be a great game of cat and mouse, and one that we look forward to calling on Saturday. There, 6:30 on ABC. All right, when we come back, continue on with your phone calls at 800-239-9569. Before we do, I'm going to tell you about my friends at ProLift Doors. They are fantastic, locally owned and operated, community-based company, 5-star reviews all over the place. Mike here in Homewood and Jeffrey in Baldwin County do an incredible job. They work on existing garage doors for repairs. They can install new ones. There's no service call fees, which to me is great. I just don't like paying for a guy to come out and tell me I need this fixed. Like, I just like for a guy to come out for free and say, all right, it's going to cost this much to fix it. Perfect. Love that. But just to get them to your door, it drives me nuts. So the fact that there's no service call fees, absolutely love that. And you can upgrade the appearance of your home and the value of your home with a brand new garage door. So if you have some unusual noises, slow response times, vibration, shaking, whether you're here or down south near the bay, go to the website. It always works. ProLiftDoors.com. That's ProLiftDoors.com. ProLift Garage Doors. Lifting your expectations. All right, 800-239-9569. Take it anywhere. We'll take your phone calls, and if you don't call, no problem. We will dive in to Auburn, Missouri, and Alabama, Tennessee next on Mac and Cube. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning on Jocks 94.5. 7:34 here, Birmingham, Alabama. We see you on hold. We're coming to you. 800-239-9569. Look forward to talking some ball with you. Also, look forward to telling you about my friends at Bill Smith Buick GMC. You take the short drive up to Coleman. It's off the charts. You'll see what I'm talking about. Second you walk on the lot, you go get yourself a GMC Sierra 1500 SLT. It's a deal that you just won't find anywhere else. It's a 4x4, beautiful trim level, $67,770 is the list price. You could take $15,000 off the sticker. You get it for under 53,000, out the door at 52,770. It's deals like that keep people coming back. There's a reason why 75% of their business is repeat customers. That's because you have a better experience when you shop with Bill Smith. So take the short drive up to Coleman. You'll be glad you did. You can also shop online, have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com. All right, let's get back to the phones. It's been great, by the way, talking ball with y'all. We're just getting started. We got a ton of games that we still need to break down, and you can direct the conversation wherever you want to go. You want to hear about Vandy LSU? Perfect. We can rip it. Had Vandy, had LSU, can tell you all you need to know. So let's go to John in Tuscaloosa. John, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Good, great. One of the questions I have, two questions for you. One, a name I would throw out for Florida, had college success, now has NFL experience. Would you at least reach out to Cliff Kingsbury? And then the question I have is the first two games, Jackson Arnold was real decisive, 1-2 looks. If it wasn't there, he took off. The next three games and the second half of the Georgia game, it's like he started holding the ball too long, trying to go through his reads. Was this something that the coaches got into his head? Hey, we've got these horses outside. I need you to find them, and showing him where he was missing receivers in the film study. Or, what do you think that's going on in his head that from those first two games where he was decisive, the first half of the Georgia game he was decisive, but after that's like he's holding too long? Is he in his head? Is it something coaches said? Did Cam and them say, hey, man, we're open? What do you think got into his head on that? And I'll hang up and listen, guys. You have a great day.
It's a great question. I appreciate it. I do think it's been called a bit, and I'm not sure. I think he would probably admit it. I think he's been trying to keep everybody happy. He's got receivers that he wants to involve. He's got guys that he knows. He knows his receivers are his best weapons. I mean, anybody that watches their offense sit there and say, golly, man, the receivers are dang good. Like, let's feed those guys. And I think they've been trying hard to get those guys as many looks as possible. The problem is with those guys, your quarterback's best attribute's not throwing it, it's running it. So I think there's been a delicate balance there of like, all right, how do we feature our best players, but also not put the game in Jackson's hands? And that's a delicate dilemma. You know what I mean? Like, that's a really, really hard thing to iron out. At least I would think it would be. If I were a head coach and it's like, man, these wide receivers, every time they touch it, they could take over the game, but I don't trust my quarterback. That's a hard thing to deal with, isn't it? At least it would be for me. So we start there. I think that's been a challenge. I think he was very decisive, but I also think, too, this is a guy that got benched last year, and I think he still has scars from being benched. And part of the reason why he got benched is because he was careless in the football. And part of the reason why he was careless with the football because it dated back to his first start ever against Arizona in the bowl game the year before. And last year, why did Auburn lose games? They turned the ball over. So what do you think the offseason was all about? Don't turn the ball over. Cannot beat ourselves. Well, when you start making that the modus operandi, like number one thing that you got to consider, well, guess what, man? That's a hard thing to coach out of somebody for telling them don't make mistakes, don't make mistakes, don't make mistakes. Well, now the guy is like, dude, we need you to throw the ball. He's like, well, you told me not to make mistakes. I think it's a delicate situation for sure. So I'm not sure that's the right answer, but yeah, he's got to play better or he's going to get yanked. I think that's coming at some point if he doesn't start cutting it loose and start being accurate with the football. He misses too many layups. He missed 3 or 4 throws in the game against Georgia. He hits them, it's a different ball game. He missed 2 or 3 throws against Oklahoma. He hits them, different ball game. Probably win both those games if he makes 2 throws. It's crazy, but it's the truth. Let's go next to Rich in Albertville. Rich, how are you?
Great, man. How are you doing?
Excellent. Appreciate you.
Good, good. I mean, you did a really good job on the Georgia game. Really enjoy watching you call games on TV. You did a great job.
Thank you, man.
Hey, let me ask you this. I've called several times, and y'all know my stance and how I feel kind of on Hugh Freeze and things like that. If Auburn were to lose to Missouri like they lost to Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma, do you see a scenario where Hugh Freeze will be let go, or do you think they're going to retain them? Because honestly, I don't see them winning, but maybe Mercer and Kentucky at this point, because you have the second worst offense in the SEC, and from a quarterback standpoint, you missed again on another quarterback that was your guy between Peyton Thorne 2 years, now Jackson this year. I mean, I don't see them retaining Hugh Freeze, because next year the schedule's going to be not manageable. It's going to be twice as hard. So why would you keep a dead coach that's not done anything like he's hired to do? Why would you not just promote Durkin and get a top-notch OC and maybe keep some of your roster? Because right now we got a $20 million plus roster that's probably going to cost $30 million to retain.
Yeah, first of all, I don't know if it's Auburn. I mean, I'm not sure you want to necessarily just promote Durkin. The defense has played great. I don't think that's going to, right now, like when a lot of guys are there, I don't think you need to retain a coach off the current staff to keep roster continuity. Like, you pay them, they'll stay. It's pretty simple. I wish it was less simple than that, but it's the reality.
So if that's the case, what names would be out there that Auburn can get? Because let's be real, the narrative up until this point has always been the powers that be hasn't given the coach the opportunity to win. Hugh Freeze has had every opportunity to win. He's had an open checkbook. He's had backing from the boosters, and he's improved the roster, but he can't win. So what? Who could Auburn get to change that narrative? I mean, to change the trajectory of the team, because Auburn has not been a viable team since 2017.
And Hugh Freeze has been there since 2023. This is year 3. To me, I know it sounds crazy, and I know like maybe I'm just sounding like a coach's apologist, but to me it takes a little time. Like, it really does. And the situation he inherited was not great from an alignment standpoint. As far as building up the roster, I do think they're improved. I think they're a lot better this year than they were last year. I think they're a lot better last year than they were the year before. I think they have improved. Now, when it comes to winning games, they've beaten themselves more than they've gotten beat in the last 2 seasons. That's frustrating. And that is a little bit of a reflection on coaching. I get it. I'm not dumb. But at the same time, I also think that it's still early to me. Like, you're playing 7 true freshmen on defense. Like, it's still early. Now, you don't win a game the rest of the year and you finish 3-9. All right, we can have that conversation. But it's at some point these things are going to start going in their direction and they're going to win ball games. Like, I really believe that. I don't think they're that far away. And I believe Hugh Freeze when I hear him say that, and then I believe him when I watch it, because they're not that far away. The only thing I would say is that they got to figure out quarterback, whether it's their messaging with quarterback or their evaluation of quarterback. You can't win without one. That's as true as the day's ever been. And frankly, Jackson Arnold comes with a high degree of talent. For sure, he's a talented young man. But this is a league in which you better be the toughest dude on the field mentally, or else you get chewed up and spit out. You better be a mental machine in this league if you're going to be quarterback. I lived it, man. I got booed by my own fans. And we were undefeated, and I got booed. Imagine that. I was a national championship winning quarterback and stood on the field and got booed. National championship winning quarterback and got booed by your own fan base. You better be tough as nails, dude. And frankly, like, I don't blame him. I didn't play well in the first half. I deserved to get booed. So you better sit there and say, you know what? I ain't worried about it. Because here's the problem with Jackson Arnold right now. And this is nothing that Hugh Freeze can do. This is nothing that the Derek Nix can do or any other coach. The second one thing goes wrong for him, he can't bounce back. Or I shouldn't say he can't. I say he hasn't bounced back. And at some point, man, you got to just rise above it and just play. I lived it, man. I've been booed by my own fans. I've been yelled at by my own fans. I still get yelled at by my own fans. And guess how much I care? Zero. You know why? Because you develop a callus in this league for criticism and challenges. Like I love it. It's the best. You got to be crazy. It's not for everybody. You got to be insane. You have to love it. And guess what? That's why you choose Auburn. That's why you choose Alabama. Because you're expected to play at a high level. You're expected to have expectations. So I think the challenge with him right now is not talent. It's between the ears, man. The second something goes wrong, it's as if like he can't get out of that one play. Look at how accurate he was in the first half. Look at how accurate he was in the second half. What changed? I don't know. A fumble. Literally, that's it. So I don't know what to tell you. They got to get him feeling good. They got to get him feeling confident. And you can't do that on game day because you're going to get hit in this league and you're going to have challenges in this league. You're going to go 3-and-out in this league. You got to weather the storm. And I haven't seen that for him. Hopefully he'll give it to us at some point here very soon. All right, when we come back, 800-239-9569. Continue on with your phone calls. And we got Eli Drinkwitz coming up 14 minutes. It's Mac and Cube. McElroy and Cubelic, Jocks 94.5. Welcome back. Last segment of the first hour. If you missed any of the show, you can check out the podcast here momentarily. It's really been a fun show. I've just had an opportunity to just kind of open things up, and it's a blast. I love hearing where y'all are at mentally going into the weekend, what you're curious about. It's actually really helpful for us. It helps us kind of steer the show in the right direction. Speaking of being steered in the right direction, they could do that for you at Bromberg's. Right now, it's Jaliska week at Bromberg's. Today is day 4. Tomorrow is the last day. So if you go and check out Bromberg's in Mountain Brook Village or at the Summit, it's Jaliska week. And that's a special, special day. Why? Because Jaliska is that beautiful glassware, dinnerware, linens. It brings joy and beauty to every gathering. So if you're thinking about hosting for the season, now is a great time to go and add a timeless piece or one of these brand new hall or holiday hosting pieces. They are awesome. So if you're looking for a gift, maybe for your loved one, or maybe you got some credit and you're a bride and you were registered at Bromberg's, now would be a time to go in and take advantage of the savings. So go and check out Bromberg's today and add some joy to your home with Jaliska. Let's go to Chuck on the road. Chuck, how are you, my friend?
Hey, Greg, how are you?
Excellent, buddy. Thanks for calling.
I wanted to ask you. You know, I'm a huge Auburn fan.
Yes, sir.
And you know about the fumble, and I know this is y'all want to talk about, but okay, when it goes to review,
yes,
does those guys have the same TV angles that y'all do on the broadcast?
They do, and we are actually the ones, believe it or not, that are feeding the TV angles to the replay review room. Now, there are some television, just like this is a little bit in the weeds. There are some angles that take a little longer to upload because they're on what we call a back channel. But yes, we're the ones that are feeding those television angles to the replay review room.
Okay. Now, how much power does that guy have? And let me ask you this too. Let me ask you a double question. Okay.
Yeah.
When they say it's a fumble on the field, does he just look for the fumble, or does he actually look at the whole play? Like, was he over for the touchdown, or does he just look and see that it was a fumble?
No, I think he looks at all aspects. Now, I've never been a replay review, but I have been an official on the field for a spring game. So basically, when a play is called on the field, quote, fumble, he tries to basically, if it's called a fumble, he's doing everything in his power to prove that it wasn't, basically. Like, just to try to provide like an argument, I think. I don't know this for sure exactly, but I'm assuming. Like you can either confirm, which if it's upheld and it's confirmed, like you can see it. Okay, yep, this was called correctly. And I think if it's called a fumble, they're trying to look, okay, was it a touchdown? And I need indisputable video evidence beyond all doubt to overturn. And the reality is the only reason why that was not, if that was called a touchdown on the field, I think it would have been upheld, but it was called a fumble on the field. So it was upheld. I don't think there was enough evidence to go in either direction. So anybody that's saying, oh, well, it was clearly a touchdown. Oh, it was clearly a fumble. I don't know if you can make that claim because, frankly, I thought it was a touchdown. But I think if you asked the guy standing next to me, he might have thought it was a fumble, and we might both have a pretty decent argument.
Right. Well, you know, the only thing, Greg, and I know it doesn't matter what I think, what you think, you know. I do think most people in other networks thought it was a touchdown and that Auburn got robbed. Can I ask you one more question? And
yeah, quickly. We got a couple minutes.
Do you think Auburn? I mean, is it possible that there's some bad blood with Auburn, or is it just circumstance? That there's 2 games now, and I really think that's the reason why Hugh Freeze is in question too, because there's 2 games that he could have won where he got bad officiating, and that's my opinion.
No, I don't think you're. I think that there were probably 4 plays in the game. Like I thought it was a touchdown. Could they have won the game potentially? Sure, but guess what? That score would have made 17-0, and Georgia still scored 20, and Auburn still did nothing in the second half. So I get, like, it's easy to say, well, if this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens. I don't know that for sure. Like Murphy's Law, like what's supposed to happen happens. I don't know. I can answer without a shadow of a doubt. There's absolutely no blood between the SEC office and the Auburn Tigers. Like, the SEC office is a multi-billion-dollar subsidy or entity that is providing opportunities for student athletes across the entire footprint. If you think they're going to go exercise some demons and all of a sudden create some type of vendetta against one of their 16 member institutions, I think you're 100% wrong. That's conspiratorial, I know, but like, you're wrong. The SEC, the only thing the SEC wants is integrity when it comes to the outcomes of their games. Like, right now, they're a big old train and they continue to keep it rolling. All they want is to get it right or do the best that they can to get it right. They are not. I promise you, the SEC has no rooting interest. I've been in those meetings. I've been with those people. They want all their teams to win every week. If their teams could all go undefeated every week, nothing would make them happier. And frankly, having a team like Auburn that is without question a top half brand in the league be good would be beneficial for the bottom line. Because guess what? People watch Auburn. So them winning would be good for the league. So no, to answer your question, that's absolutely false. All right, when we come back, Eli Drinkwitz, the head coach of the Missouri Tigers, will join us next on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, Jocks 94.5.